Welcome back to our series on how to start a candle business. This is week 3 in the series. So if you're just now tuning in, I highly recommend that you check out week 1, where we selected our niche and defined our target customer, and week 2, where we did a trademark search and secured our domains. Once you've picked your name and claimed your space online, it's time to make your brand look, well, like a brand. This is where so many businesses stay stuck in that DIY mode. But with the right pieces in place, your visuals can instantly create trust and connection with your customer. Now let's walk through the 5 big pieces that you'll want to focus on this week. Before we dive in, I want to give a shout out to Tuato for partnering with us on this series. Tuato wax melters are a must-have part of our business simply because they melt wax fast, they hold a steady temperature, and they're affordable. If you're looking for a melter or several to make production faster, I highly recommend Tuato. In the notes below, you'll find an exclusive link that will save you additional money at checkout. All right, so the first step to building your visual identity for your brand is going to be to pick out those brand colors and your fonts. Now, your colors and fonts set the entire vibe for your brand. Are you minimal and modern? Are you, let's say, cozy and nostalgic? Or what we're doing with our Without brand is we're trying to go with bold and unapologetic. So think about this. What emotion or personality do you want your brand to evoke? How will your colors look across your labels, your packaging, signage, social media, stationery? Choose 1 or 2 main brand colors and then have 2 or 3 accent neutrals. Now pick 1 primary font. This is going to be the font that you're going to use for your headlines, your titles, the naming of your candle on your label per se. And then you also want to have a supporting font that is going to be for the smaller text or the body text on your website, other places that your headline font will not be used. For our Without brand, we're using bold typefaces. Then we're also going to be using black and white for our colors, but with neutral pops of color to give it that accent in different places. We're trying to have a feeling of confidence, warmth, and activism within our color scheme. So I think that's going to reflect pretty nicely. Step 2 is going to be to design your logo and wordmark. Your logo is often the first thing that someone sees, so you want to make sure that you make it count. A wordmark is your brand name written in a specific font or a custom style. You can also create a graphic logo if you want an icon or shape to represent your brand. For example, we are using a flame-inspired circle for our Without brand. It is a visual if a candle is lit and you are looking down directly on top of a candle. If you're looking down, that is what our icon is representing there inside of the Without brand for us. Now, it doesn't have to be complicated. Simple is actually memorable. Think about how it's going to show up on your labels, your boxes, your thank you cards, social media profile pictures. You want to make sure also that it's going to look good in black and white, because if your logo is full of all different colors, it might not print very well. It might not look great in all different use cases. So something to keep in mind. Think about where you're going to use it. If you're going to print off letterhead for your business, if you have a very colorful logo, are you going to have that on that letterhead? And if not, if you're going to do it in black and white, make sure it's going to look okay. I see this often when people will have flowers. If you have flowers in your logo with all different colors, you have greens and pinks and blues and yellows and a variety of colors, it looks great in color, but it's really hard to show the same feeling in black and white. So keep that in mind. If you look at all the big brands out there, you look at, say, Apple or McDonald's or Target or Walmart, any of these brands out there, they keep a rather simple logo that even though they may be in color that we see them, they can also use those in black and white just fine, and you'll know exactly what that is. You would know if the arches of McDonald's was in black and white. You would know if the Walmart sign or the Target bullseye were in black and white. Have the same style with your candle brand and see, hey, if this colorful logo that I've designed was only in black and white, would it look the same? So something to think about there. Step 3 is going to be to create a secondary brand mark if you need it. So this is going to be optional, but it is helpful. A secondary mark can be used when your full logo doesn't fit. So our full logo is going to be our icon and then the Without word mark. But we will also be able to use just that icon itself as a secondary brand mark. And we will be using that in a lot of places where having a horizontal, long logo isn't going to always fit. So that might be on the top of packaging. That might be on the bottom of letterhead. That might be in different places on our website. It could also be on other stuff besides candles that we're going to be using. If your word mark is pretty long and you are doing, let's say, wax melts with a smaller container, you may just want to have a secondary brand mark on there. For us, we are essentially just breaking up our logo, which includes an icon and our word mark. We are just breaking that icon off and we'll be using that as a solo secondary brand mark. So generally, we would have our entire logo is going to be both together, but secondarily, we will use the icon solo, and that will fit in many places and it'll become recognizable over time for us. A couple other good uses for a secondary brand mark would be if you are going to have a stamp, if you're going to stamp the side of your boxes, if you're going to have miniature stickers that you are going to seal when you wrap up your candles, if you are going to have with tissue paper, you want to have a sticker to keep it closed. Also, part of the unboxing experience, you may have some stickers used within there. And having a small circle sticker, just having an icon, a secondary brand mark might be ideal there versus your entire logo. Also, think about your social media posts that you may be using. If you're going to be creating different images, say in Canva, you may not want to have your logo front and center all the time because it distracts people from what you're trying to show in your visual images and in your post, or if you're running ads on Facebook. It's not going to be necessarily about the brand and the logo. It's about the products that you're trying to sell. So your candles, your wax melts, room sprays, perfumes, whatever you're selling should be front and center in all of those social media posts and all the ads you potentially will run. So make sure that your logo isn't something that's going to be overpowering, or it'll be good to have a secondary brand mark. Again, for us, we will just use the icon solo for that. So in step 4, we want to develop a visual style guide. Now that you have your name, your colors, your fonts, your logos, it's time to document it. This doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just put together 1 or 2 page PDF, or in fact, what I would do is I would just do this right inside of Canva to document this. I would just create that right inside of Canva. It's going to include your brand's name, your approved logos, and when to use them, which is really important. You want to document when to use the entire logo, when to use just the word mark, and when to use the icon or your secondary brand mark. You also want to include some color swatches of your brand's color along with the hex code, because every website that you build out, if you're going to have someone print specific logos or have anything printed, really, you're going to need to have those hex codes to provide them so that they can have accurate color. So make sure that you include that. And right inside of Canva, it tells you whenever you go to the colors what the hex code is. You're also going to put this right into Shopify whenever you're building out your website. It'll ask for the hex code colors there. That makes it really easy so that you don't have slightly off colors. It'll be consistent across all the platforms that you're on. And the next thing that you're going to want to have in this brand guide is going to be the font names. And then also not just the font names, but how to use them. So here's your heading. This is the places that you're going to use it. Here's the body text. This is the place that you're going to use it. And then here, if you're going to have a display text or any additional fonts, you need to document when you would actually use those additional fonts so that others would know. You should be able to just give this to someone else and say, create social media content for me. Or whenever you start hiring people for your business, so that they understand, you may understand everything. It's all in your head saved that where you're going to use all of this different, colors, fonts, logos, but someone else isn't. This is going to be an easy guide that you can give to someone else, and they can see very clearly how and when to use certain things. It's going to make your brand very consistent. So it's really important to have this. Also, what I would include would be some sample layouts of some labels. Mock up some labels and include those in this visual style guide so that you can see a visual representation of how you're using all of this. What's the colors? Where are the fonts being used? What are the sizes of those fonts in comparison to the other? And also, if you're using your wordmark or your logo or your icon, give examples of different places where you're going to be using all of those. This is going to make it just so much easier from when you design new labels to, again, also whenever you start hiring help in the future, just to say, hey, this is the style guide please create off of this. In fact, in the upcoming weeks, we will start talking about doing some packaging and also, outsourcing, getting some custom things done. And it's easy to give if you find a supplier to create boxes with, or even to create vessels with, or just to print stationery with. If you're wanting to outsource that to another company rather than you just getting on to, let's say, like vistaprint.com and trying to do it all yourself, if you're going to hire someone else to do that, especially when it comes to custom packaging, you can give them this brand, the style guide, and usually they will have someone that will put it all together for you so that you're not actually trying to mock it up yourself. They'll have an expert that can knock it out in just a few minutes as long as you give them the style guide. So super handy and convenient to have with you now as we're building out the business, rather than in the future when people start asking for it and then you're scrambling to get that to them within a quick time. So step 5 is going to be to design your candle labels and your stationery. So once your style guide is in place, you can start applying it to your real world parts of your business. Of course, this is going to include your candle labels. If you're going to be doing wax melts, room spray, say you're going to be doing perfumes, we plan on doing some merchandise as well with this brand because we think that the niche that we're going to fall into, people beyond just wanting to buy a candle are going to want to hopefully buy into our brand. We're also going to be creating thank you cards and postcards. So you're going to want to go ahead and start working on that this week. Your branded packaging or tissue. If you're going to have packaging tape, custom made, I know a lot of people really like to do that. We've not done that in the past, but we might do that with our new brand here, is to create some custom tape. But we're definitely going to probably do some type of tissue. If we keep our tissue just plain, we will definitely do some stickers to close up the product with. So we're going to go ahead and start diving into that this week as well. We're also going to start working on some business card designs. And then also, because we are big on wholesale, even though we're not to the point of thinking about doing outreach for our wholesale yet, I want to go ahead and start creating my line sheet just to update it with all of these icons. Again, we don't have the products in place yet, but I can go ahead and start putting my logo and my word mark and my icon in all the different places that it's going to be. So on all those social handles that we acquired last week in the week 2's episode, we can now start putting our word mark or our logo out in all of those places just to start building up some recognition out there. Also, one thing when people start to discover your brand, people often kind of scroll back to see how long your brand has been around. And so to see an initial post, even if we might not get to consistently posting for, a few more weeks out, we want to have kind of the lifespan of our social media account. So go ahead and throwing those out there certainly isn't going to hurt you whatsoever. And you can also start to, invite people in, but having that recognized logo out there now is going to be helpful. So what other areas can we talk about here? So your labels are often going to be the only interaction that someone has with your brand on the front end. So I would definitely spend some time making your labels memorable. I know that minimalist, a simple text font, maybe a cursive font there with a subheading text below it seems to be popular. A white label with minimal text on it. But maybe think outside of that. What's actually going to resonate with your brand a little bit more? Of course, we have all the elements here to build out those candle labels, but try to get creative. Use some more of these colors that you've decided on. Maybe use some different sizes of text within your candle labels. But I've always been a big proponent of a 2-font max, only 2 fonts on a label. Once you start getting more than 2 fonts, you have your candle name, and then you have your logo has a different font, and then you also have the subtext below that shows the size of the candle. If you're going more than 2 fonts, it really gets distracting. So it was something that was taught, I don't know, many years ago when it came to branding, and that was to have only 2 different fonts in one place at one time. I highly recommend doing that on your candle labels and not having any more than that. Keep in mind that branding isn't just about looking great. It's actually about building trust. That's the most important part of branding. When your visual identity aligns with the story that you're telling and the experiences that you're creating, customers are going to feel it. They're going to remember you and they're going to come back. If you are part of the inner circle, you can follow along and see exactly our strategy and the steps that we took to complete each one of these tasks. You'll also get the step-by-step guide for you to do the same. If you're not part of the inner circle, but you want to learn more, come visit us over at candlebusinesspro.com. In next week's episode, we'll dive into sourcing supplies and packaging. That's going to include choosing vessels, lids, boxes, creating an unboxing experience that wows without wasting money, all the stuff. In the meantime, if you already have a candle business, think about this. If you were to scale your business, let's say 10x, would the suppliers that you're using still be a good fit? Are they reliable enough to grow with you? We're going to discuss that in next week's episode. Thanks again to 2Auto. Don't forget to check them out with the links below for all your wax melting needs. Until next time, take care.